The 80s gave us Blade Runner, Aliens, Terminator. Everyone knows those. But for every sci-fi movie that became a household name, there were like a dozen that just vanished. Bigger budgets crushed them. Studio politics killed them. Some came out the same week as something huge and got steamrolled. A few were just too weird for 1985 audiences to figure out. But here's the thing. Watch them now, and a bunch of them hit harder than half the streaming originals you scroll past every night. We're talking on-set disasters, fired directors, predictions that came true 40 years later, ideas Hollywood is currently ripping off without giving credit. 15 forgotten 80s sci-fi movies that absolutely hold up. Let's get into it. Number 15. Looker, 1981. Michael Crichton figured out the SAG-AFTRA strike in 1981. That's not an exaggeration. Looker, written and directed by the guy who created Jurassic Park and Westworld, is about a corporation that digitally scans models, creates perfect computer-generated replicas of them, and then quietly discards the actual women. The copies can sell anything. They never age, they never negotiate, and the real people are just done. Sound familiar? Because that is almost word for word the thing that actors were fighting studios over decades later. The right to control your digital likeness. The fear that one scan, one session, could replace you permanently. Crichton was describing it in a thriller 45 years ago, and the film flopped so completely that almost nobody remembers it happened. Albert Finney plays a plastic surgeon who starts noticing that the models he's operated on are dying one by one. His investigation leads into a company called Digital Matrix, which is using CGI replicas in TV commercials embedded with subliminal tech designed to actually shape how viewers think. So it's not just about replacing people. It's about using their likenesses to manipulate the audience watching them. Here's the thing that blows my mind about this movie's legacy, though. Looker was the first film in history to feature a 3D computer-shaded character. Not Tron, Looker. It beat Tron to theaters by 9 months. But Tron became a cultural phenomenon, and Looker vanished, so that fact has basically been erased from the popular version of film history. Crichton originally conceived the whole idea as a comedy. He thought the premise, companies replacing human performers with digital copies for ads, was so absurd it had to be played for laughs. Then he actually visited animation studios to research it, and they told him, completely straight-faced, that it was already happening. That the race to create computer-generated commercial imagery was real and ongoing. The comedy became a thriller pretty quickly after that. Watch it now, and it doesn't feel like a 45-year-old movie. It feels like someone read last week's tech news and turned it into a film. Number 14. Runaway, 1984. 3 years after Looker, Crichton came back with another film about technology nobody was ready to think about yet. And once again, he nailed it. And once again, nobody cared. Runaway imagines a world where robots are just part of everyday life. They tend farms, they cook, they handle construction work. Mostly they function fine, but sometimes they malfunction, go haywire in the film's language. And when that happens, a special unit of police gets called in to shut them down. Tom Selleck plays the head of this unit, the Runaway Squad, treating most of his calls like routine maintenance. A domestic bot that's acting up, a farming machine that won't stop, normal Tuesday stuff. Then someone starts deliberately programming robots to kill people, and the routine calls stop being routine. The villain is Gene Simmons, yes, from Kiss, and he's unsettling. Cold and reptilian in a way that nobody who knew him from the band saw coming. He reportedly turned down other roles specifically because he didn't want to be typecast as the rock star guy, so he chose this instead, a calculating criminal who designs heat-seeking bullets that chase targets around corners and through walls based on their unique body chemistry. Terrifying concept, played completely straight, but the part of Runaway that gets me isn't the villain or the action sequences, it's the background. The world this film just casually depicts as normal life. Drones, voice-activated computers, biometric security, tablet devices, robots doing domestic chores, all of it presented as unremarkable everyday technology in 1984, when most American cops still carried revolvers. The cruel irony is that Runaway had the catastrophic misfortune of releasing the same year as the Terminator. It got absolutely steamrolled. Crichton, by multiple accounts, was gutted by how it was received. But the ideas in it? They were right. They were just early. Number 13. Brainstorm, 1983. This one I want to be careful with, because there are really two stories here, and they're both worth telling. The first story is the film itself. Brainstorm was directed by Douglas Trumbull, the visual effects genius behind 2001, Close Encounters, Blade Runner, making his own feature. The premise: scientists create a headset that records a complete sensory experience, not just sight, everything. Touch, smell, taste, emotion, the whole thing. And someone else can strap it on later and feel exactly what you felt. Ride a roller coaster through your eyes, taste the meal you ate, experience your memories. Then, one of the scientists has a heart attack, alone in the lab, and while she's dying, she manages to get the headset on and hit record. What follows is a thriller about the military trying to weaponize the death recording, and Christopher Walken's character becoming obsessed with playing back the full experience, convinced it captured something beyond death that the government doesn't want anyone to see. It's strange and ambitious and decades ahead of its time in thinking about what virtual reality would mean for human experience. The second story is real life. In November 1981, during a break in production, Natalie Wood drowned. The circumstances remain disputed to this day. Wood had been cast in a major role and saw Brainstorm as her comeback film. MGM, already hemorrhaging money on the production, tried to use her death as justification to shut the whole thing down and collect the insurance. Trumbull refused to let that happen. He fought back. Other studios got interested, which forced MGM to realize they'd look ridiculous walking away from a nearly finished film. He rewrote what remained, used Wood's younger sister as a stand-in for the last few scenes, and finished it. The film is dedicated to Natalie. When it finally came out 2 years later, audiences mostly stayed away. The cloud over the production followed it into theaters, but the film itself is remarkable. A portrait of virtual reality technology made years before anyone had actually built any. Number 12, Enemy Mine, 1985. I want to just describe the plot of this one and let you sit with how good that premise is. A human fighter pilot and a reptilian alien soldier crash land on a hostile planet together. No rescue is coming. The environment is brutal. And these two people, trained since birth to see each other as the enemy, have to figure out survival or die. That's it. That's the whole setup. Wolfgang Petersen directed this, the same guy who made Das Boot, and he brings that same interest in people trapped in impossible situations, forced to confront each other as actual human beings rather than symbols. Dennis Quaid plays Willis Davidge, the human pilot, and he does not play him as secretly noble or enlightened from the start. He's a bigot. He uses slurs for the alien. He sees the Drac as fundamentally less than. Louis Gossett Jr. plays Jerry, buried under hours of prosthetics, and through all of it delivers a performance so warm and specific and funny that he ends up being the most human character in the film. The irony of that is obviously intentional. They learn each other's languages. They develop genuine affection. Jerry gets fascinated by Mickey Mouse and becomes convinced the cartoon character might be some kind of human spiritual figure, which is both hilarious and oddly moving. And then the story takes a turn that the film earns completely. Jerry's species doesn't have separate genders. Pregnancy just happens, and Jerry dies in childbirth, leaving Davidge alone with a baby alien he never asked for. He raises the kid anyway, and eventually has to fight his own species, human slavers who show up and start using the Drac as forced labor to protect the child he's come to love. Enemy Mine bombed in the US. Did well in the Soviet Union, weirdly enough, which probably tells you something about what resonated and where. But it found its audience on VHS over the years, and that audience has been quietly insisting this movie deserves more attention ever since. They're not wrong. Number 11, The Hidden, 1987. Picture a completely ordinary person, no priors, no history of anything, walking into a bank and just robbing it. Then stealing a Ferrari, blasting heavy metal, leading cops on a chase, taking an amount of gunfire that should not be survivable, and still not going down. Next day, completely different person. Same pattern, same music taste, same impossible resilience. Something is moving from body to body, and it is having an absolute blast. The Hidden stars Kyle MacLachlan, who just done Dune and Blue Velvet for Lynch, as an FBI agent who shows up in LA with a very specific interest in these cases. He gets paired with a skeptical LAPD detective played by Michael Nouri, and the two of them chase a trail that doesn't make any conventional sense. What makes this movie better than it has any right to be is what the alien parasite actually wants. It's not here to conquer anything. It doesn't have a grand scheme. It just wants stuff. Fast cars, loud music, expensive things, the feeling of breaking every rule that a civilized society has. It consumes each host until the body gives out, then jumps to the next one, and the experience it's chasing is pure id. more, faster, louder, again. The satirical layer here is sharper than the film gets credit for. This is a movie about American consumer culture wearing a monster's face. The alien is the ultimate expression of want without consequence. And McLaughlin's character is hiding a secret of his own that, once revealed, reframes everything you've watched. It moves fast. It's lean. It's entertaining in a way that a lot of bigger films from that era aren't anymore. Well worth digging up. Number 10, Alien Nation, 1988. The setup for Alien Nation is so straightforward, I'm almost embarrassed by how much it still works. 300,000 extraterrestrial refugees crash land in the Mojave Desert. They're absorbed into Los Angeles society over time. They take jobs, rent apartments, send their kids to school, and a significant percentage of the human population resents every bit of it. James Caan plays a veteran LAPD detective whose partner is killed in a robbery connected to a newcomer suspect. Fueled by grief and some prejudices he hasn't fully examined, he gets assigned a new partner, Sam Francisco, the first newcomer to make detective, played by Mandy Patinkin under alien prosthetics. The buddy cop format is familiar on purpose. It's a deliberate choice to place a story about immigration and belonging inside a genre Americans were comfortable with. But the details are what make it work. The newcomers get drunk on sour milk. Salt water is toxic to them. Their biology is completely foreign to human medicine, but their desire for dignity and safety and a normal life is identical to ours. The film says that quietly, through details, rather than making speeches about it. Terrence Stamp plays the villain, a newcomer crime lord exploiting his own community, which complicates things in a smart way. The film isn't interested in a simple, humans bad, aliens good story. It's more honest than that. Alien Nation did well enough to spawn a TV series that expanded the world considerably, but the film itself kind of faded. Watch it now and the conversation it's having doesn't feel dated at all. The questions it raises about who gets to belong, who gets to be called one of us, are if anything louder now than they were in 1988. Number 9, Daryl, 1985. The pitch is simple. A boy with no memory turns up on a highway. A kind family takes him in. He's polite, he's unusually athletic, he's unsettlingly good at everything, drives a car perfectly at age 10, wins every baseball game without appearing to try. Something is clearly off, but nobody can quite name it. Then the military shows up. Daryl stands for Data Analyzing Robot Youth Lifeform. The boy is an AI prototype housed in a synthetic human body, a Pentagon project. And now that he's been out in the world long enough to develop what looks a lot like genuine feelings, attachment, joy, fear, the specific grief of a child who knows he might be taken away. The people who built him want him back. Barrett Oliver, who just done The Never-Ending Story, plays the title role with a quietness that makes the whole thing land. Because the film's central question isn't really about technology, it's about personhood. At what point does something stop being property and start being someone? The scientists and military brass in the film never engage with that question. To them, Daryl is a prototype, government hardware that got loose, but the family that raised him sees a kid. The film came out in the long shadow of E.T. and didn't have the marketing muscle to compete. It got lost. But watch it now, in a moment when we're arguing about whether AI systems can have experiences that matter, and it hits differently. The conversation the movie is trying to have is one we're still not prepared to have properly. Number 8, Death Watch, 1980. This is the one that should disturb you. Directed by French filmmaker Bertrand Tavernier, barely released in North America, Death Watch takes place in a future where disease has essentially been eliminated. People don't get sick and waste away anymore. Death, when it comes fast, which means that when a woman named Catherine is diagnosed with a terminal illness, one of the very few remaining, a television network sees an opportunity. Her death will be the biggest ratings event in years. Harvey Keitel plays a cameraman who has agreed to have a miniature camera surgically implanted in his eyes. Everything he sees gets broadcast. He befriends Catherine under false pretenses and follows her through her last days, her grief and her private moments beaming to millions of viewers who are watching it like a serial drama. Romy Schneider plays Catherine. She's not played as naive. She suspects something is wrong, that she's being watched. The horror of the film is watching the walls close in on her anyway. Death Watch came out in 1980. Reality television didn't exist yet. Surveillance culture was still a fringe worry. The idea that mass audiences would voluntarily tune in to watch someone's worst moments, That people would choose human suffering as entertainment seemed like dystopian exaggeration. Scroll through any social media platform right now for 5 minutes. People film accidents. They live stream breakdowns. Grief gets broadcast for engagement. The film didn't predict a trend so much as it predicted an entire reorientation of what human beings are comfortable watching and comfortable doing to each other for an audience. The accuracy is almost uncomfortable to sit with. Number 7. Slipstream, 1989. I'm going to give you a cast list, and I want you to understand that this film exists and almost nobody has seen it. Mark Hamill, Bill Paxton, F. Murray Abraham, Ben Kingsley. Directed by Steven Lisberger, who made Tron. Slipstream is set on a future Earth that ecological collapse has reshaped so completely that a massive, permanent wind system, the Slipstream, now dominates the landscape. What's left of civilization lives in scattered settlements connected by gliders and small aircraft that ride the wind. Laws enforced by whoever has the guns. Hamill plays a bounty hunter, arrogant, slick, everything you don't expect from him after Star Wars, who captures a fugitive with a mysterious secret. Paxton plays a charming opportunist who steals the prisoner and makes a run for it along the Slipstream, hoping to collect the bounty himself. What follows is a chase through religious cults, crumbling ruins, and communities clinging to very different ideas about how to survive the end of civilization. F. Murray Abraham is a cave-dwelling philosopher. Ben Kingsley shows up. The whole thing feels like someone crossed Mad Max with a nature documentary and scored it on a synthesizer. Hamill has talked about this film publicly and loves it. Not in the obligatory, "it was a great experience" press tour way, but actually loves it. Fans who've tracked it down tend to agree that the world building is original and the tone is unlike anything else from the era. It got virtually no distribution. Bad timing? A studio with no idea how to sell it, and that was that. Some films fade because they deserve to. This one faded because nobody was given the chance to find it. Number 6. Night of the Comet, 1984. A comet passes over Earth. Everyone goes outside to watch. By morning, most of humanity is red dust. 2 teenage sisters from the San Fernando Valley survived. One by spending the night in a steel-lined projection booth. The other sleeping in a garden shed with a metal roof. They have all of Los Angeles to themselves. Their first instinct is to go shopping. Night of the Comet has no business being as good as it is. It takes post-apocalyptic horror, zombie action, shady government scientists, and Valley Girl comedy, and just blends them together like that's a completely normal thing to do. Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney play the sisters, and they're the reason the whole thing works. Tough, resourceful, funny, and completely unbothered by the end of civilization in a way that's somehow both satirical and kind of inspiring. The mall sequence is worth watching the film for on its own. Set to a synth-pop soundtrack that is aggressively 80s, the sisters raid department stores, try on outfits, and dance through empty aisles like the apocalypse is the best day they've ever had. It's ridiculous, and it's perfect. But the film also has real tension when it needs it. The zombies aren't played for laughs. The scientists running the shadowy research facility are menacing, and the movie never lets you forget that these women are actually in danger, even while they're having the time of their lives. Joss Whedon has credited Night of the Comet as a direct inspiration for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The specific idea that a young woman could be feminine and funny and also completely lethal. It didn't make a huge dent at the box office in 1984, but it built a cult following on VHS that's never really gone away. Number 5. The Wraith, 1986. A gang of car thieves has been running an Arizona town for years. They run illegal races, force people off roads, steal what they want, and face essentially zero consequences. Their leader, Packard Walsh, murdered a young man named Jamie Hankins for daring to be with the girl Packard considered his. The body was never found. The case went cold. Packard kept going. Then a stranger shows up driving a car that shouldn't exist. And around the same time, a mysterious black armored figure on an impossibly fast Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor starts challenging Packard's crew to races. Every one of them loses. Every loss is permanent. The car explodes. The gang member dies, and then the Interceptor reassembles itself out of thin air and disappears down the highway. Charlie Sheen plays the stranger in town. Quiet, magnetic, carrying himself like someone who knows exactly how this ends. The film never fully commits to explaining what he is. Ghost, alien, something else. It's deliberately vague, and the vagueness is part of what makes it work. The mystery is the point. The Wraith lives in this weird intersection of sci-fi and supernatural revenge thriller and pure 80s car culture. Leather jackets, desert highways, synth-heavy score, neon diner lighting. It became a VHS staple, the kind of thing you'd find at the bottom of a rental shelf and end up watching 3 times. And honestly, Sheen has played bigger roles, but I'd argue nobody ever built him a cooler character than Jake Kesey. Number 4. Somewhere in Time, 1980. This one is different from everything else on this list, and I want to be upfront about that before you go in. There are no aliens, no action sequences, no explosions. Somewhere in Time is a love story, and if that's not what you're in the mood for, maybe skip it tonight and come back later. But if you're open to it, really open to it, this film might gut you. Christopher Reeve plays a young playwright who becomes obsessed with a photograph of a woman from 1912. Elise McKenna, an actress who performed at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, Michigan, played by Jane Seymour. He doesn't just find her beautiful, he feels pulled toward her across 7 decades in a way the film never tries to explain rationally, because it's not a rational thing. He just needs to reach her. Based on a Richard Matheson novel, the same writer behind I Am Legend, the film's time travel mechanism is one of the most unusual in the genre. No machine, no wormhole. Richard uses self-hypnosis. He dresses in period-appropriate clothing, strips every trace of the modern world out of his hotel room, and concentrates himself backward in time. And it works. The tragedy, though, is structural. Time travel maintained by pure belief is fragile. One accidental intrusion from the wrong era, a single misplaced object, can collapse the whole thing. You can see where this is going. The ending stays with you. Reeve is a revelation here. Everything you associate with his Superman performance, the confidence, the physical authority, is gone. He's vulnerable and obsessive and deeply human in a way the superhero role never let him be. The film died at the box office, and critics mostly dismissed it as sentimental, but fans found it, passed it along, and started showing up at the Grand Hotel every year to mark it, gatherings that still happen. Somewhere in Time became one of the most beloved cult films of the decade through sheer word of mouth from people who couldn't let it go. Number 3. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, 1984. Listen to that title again. Now understand that the movie is exactly what it sounds like, and also completely impossible to describe to someone who hasn't seen it. Buckaroo Banzai is simultaneously a neurosurgeon, a particle physicist, a rock star, and a comic book hero. He drives a rocket-powered Ford pickup truck through a mountain and into the 8th dimension. He discovers that aliens called Red Lectroids from Planet 10 have been hiding in New Jersey since 1938. He assembles a team of geniuses called the Hong Kong Cavaliers to stop them from destroying Earth. Peter Weller plays Buckaroo with the serene calm of a man who considers interdimensional travel a minor inconvenience. John Lithgow plays the villain, a raving, completely unhinged mad scientist possessed by an alien overlord, and he commits to it so fully that it's almost performance art. Jeff Goldblum shows up as New Jersey, a neurosurgeon who is also a cowboy. Christopher Lloyd plays an alien pretending to be human. The film throws so much at you so fast that first-time viewers often feel like they missed a prequel that was never made. That's not a flaw, it's deliberate. Buckaroo Banzai treats its own world with total sincerity. Nobody winks at the camera. Nobody acknowledges how insane any of this is. The film simply accepts that a person can be a brain surgeon on Monday and fight aliens on Tuesday and record a rock album on Wednesday. It ended with a title card promising, "Buckaroo Banzai will return in Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League." That sequel never happened. For decades, fans have campaigned, organized, and kept the hope alive. The film has become a kind of secret handshake. If you meet someone who loves Buckaroo Banzai, you immediately know something specific and good about them. Number 2. Batteries Not Included, 1987. An elderly couple in New York City is about to lose their home. Their apartment building sits on land a developer wants to flatten, and the remaining tenants, artists, retirees, people with nowhere else to go, are being pressured and threatened into leaving. No one with power is going to help them. Then, one night, tiny alien spacecraft the size of dinner plates float in through the window and start fixing things. Batteries Not Included is an Amblin Entertainment production, Spielberg's company, and that warmth is all over it. Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy play Frank and Faye Riley, the couple at the center. Tandy, who won the Oscar for Driving Miss Daisy 2 years later, plays Faye with a heartbreaking fragility. Her mind is quietly going. Cronin is stubborn and defiant, and holding on to everything with both hands. The little aliens, The tenants start calling them the fix-its. Don't just repair the building, they repair the community. They give people who have run out of reasons to stay a reason to stay. The film's emotional argument is simple. The vulnerable deserve someone in their corner, and sometimes that someone arrives from somewhere you'd never expect. The themes hit harder now than they probably did in 1987. Gentrification isn't a plot device anymore. It's just Tuesday. The image of a beloved building full of people being crushed by someone richer with other plans for the land has stopped being dystopian and become ordinary. Batteries Not Included doesn't offer solutions. It just insists that these people matter, that their home matters, and that something in the universe should care about the little guy. The practical effects used to bring the tiny aliens to life are charming. There's a warmth to objects you know were actually built and physically moved through a set that CGI hasn't figured out how to replicate. The film faded from popular memory. It deserves to be found again. Number 1. Outland, 1981. Take High Noon. Move it to a mining colony on one of Jupiter's moons. Give Gary Cooper a shotgun and a name, Marshal William T. O'Neill, and cast Sean Connery. That's Outland, and it might be the most underrated film Connery ever made. O'Neill is posted at Con Am 27, a remote mining outpost on Io. It's the kind of assignment you get when you've irritated the wrong people. His wife is leaving him, his colleagues are useless, and the miners are starting to die, suffering violent psychotic breaks, seeing things that aren't there, sometimes turning on coworkers, sometimes themselves. One man walks into a decompression chamber without a suit and lets the vacuum of space handle things. Something is very wrong, and the people who run this place want O'Neill to stop looking into it. What he finds is a drug operation. The colony's general manager, played by Peter Boyle with a reptilian corporate pleasantness that makes you want to take a shower, has been feeding miners a powerful amphetamine that dramatically increases productivity. The output numbers look great. Profits are up. The fact that the drug eventually destroys their minds is considered an acceptable cost of doing business. When O'Neill refuses a bribe and pushes the issue, Shepard makes a call. 2 professional killers book the next shuttle. Arrival time? High noon. Nobody on the station will help him. The film is almost classical in its structure. One person deciding to do the right thing even when the cost is everything, with no guarantee anyone will care. Director Peter Hyams wanted to make a film about what space colonization would actually feel like from the inside. Not the wonder of it, the grind. The sets are claustrophobic and industrial and used. The whole place feels like it smells bad. Frances Sternhagen plays Dr. Lazarus, the colony physician and the only person willing to stand with O'Neill when it matters. She won the Saturn Award for the role and deserved it. The film came and went without making much of an impression commercially, but watch it now and the story it's telling. Corporate greed treating workers as expendable, institutional corruption protecting profit margins. One person deciding that's not acceptable hasn't aged at all. If anything, it's gotten more relevant. That's probably the most honest thing you can say about almost every film on this list. They didn't feel urgent enough in the moment they arrived. They do now. So that's 15 films, spread across a decade. Most of them made for modest budgets by people who were taking swings that the major studios wouldn't take. How many of these had you actually heard of before this video? And more importantly, what are you watching tonight?